Welcome back. You're still tuned into Salam Media. The time is 18 minutes past 8. And we're going to be looking at a very, very interesting topic right now. As I mentioned before we went to the break, the Freedom Flotilla, which is planning to set sail on Friday, leaving from Turkey, is facing considerable pressure from the US and Israel, obviously, with them not wanting aid to be making its way anywhere near Gaza. And if you don't know about the Freedom Flotilla, well, is these fleet, of these ships and boats with all kinds of aid that will be making their way to Gaza to deliver, much, much, much needed relief and aid to the people of Gaza that are currently under siege. And there are two wonderful, lovely ladies who are going to be on the flotilla that's going to be making its way to Gaza, and they're joining us on stream here today. They are in Istanbul, Turkey. They are preparing to embark on this very, 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 I must say, dangerous journey on Friday. Mooniba, Bhyat, the founder and managing director at Developing Ambitious Resilient Entrepreneurs, short for D.A.R.E, and a very close friend of the station, Dr. Yvonne, Ridley. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum, ladies. Thank you so much for joining us on Salam Media.
Walaikum salam. Thank you for inviting us.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum, Salalo, and good morning, Yvonne.
Yes, good morning. Nice to see you again.
I think we'll just jump right into it. I'm going to ask you guys, one question that I feel like a lot of people, are genuinely interested. Personally, I'll start. Maybe you can answer first, Mooniba. Personally, embarking on this journey, was it a conscious decision? What inspired it? Understanding all the risks, that might be involved in it.
Yes, Salelo, I've been in Turkey for a while. I've arrived here in October, and being a humanitarian activist working in the field of women and children, watching what's been happening in Gaza obviously has been really devastating for me to watch and to actually understand what women must be going through there. And I think every day that I've been here, I've been looking for avenues and ways in which I can actually go and assist. I mean, I know we've done a lot in terms of sharing all the posts and all of that we did, but I think it's past that now. And I tried, working and finding out if there were any groups going, but it's obviously impossible to go through land. And I do volunteer work for IHAHA. So I was quite fortunate that during my work with IHAHA, I found out about the flotilla, and the word started going around that the flotilla has been getting prepared to to sail out of Istanbul. And I thought, what an opportunity it's been. And also just, following the history of the flotillas, I've been watching them for a couple of years. And I remember 2008, 2010. And I just so wished I could have been on those flotillas. But unfortunately, at that time, circumstances were that I couldn't. So I thought, wow, this is all amazing. Let me apply. Let me find out if I can, and if I can apply to be a volunteer, to get on as one of the activists. And I filled in the application form, not knowing if it was going to be accepted. So alhamdulillah, I was pleasantly surprised when I did. It was a little process because I think there were 10,000 people that applied at the same time, and because I was in Turkey, it kind of went into the system where it got a bit lost. And then I had made contact with a friend of mine and said, please find out, where is this application? Why haven't I not heard from them? And they said the South African, partners will contact me. And alhamdulillah, it was just the most beautiful day to get that news. It was actually Eid day when I got the news that I was on the flotilla. So it was my extra Eid gift.
Alhamdulillah. Yvonne,
and I think, just being...
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and I think just being a humanitarian activist, having this opportunity it was just awesome. I mean, I think anybody that would want that has been doing work in a field like this would know that an invitation like this and an acceptance like this is really awesome.
Yvonne, let's focus on you a bit. If I'm not mistaken, this is going to be your second time on the flotilla. If you can maybe just, reflect on the first time that you were on board, and also coming in, for this year's edition, knowing and understanding what you guys went through the last time and what happened there. I won't, tell that story, but you were there. If you can maybe just briefly, reflect on that, and also just tell us, the decision, to go back again to be on that flotilla.
Well, back in 2008, I was on the first boat to get into Gaza. And when we sailed into Gaza harbour, we were the first boat in 41 years. That's how long the siege had been going on. It's not a couple of decades. It was 41 years before Hamas was even thought of. The people of Gaza have been under siege, for a lifetime. And that was an exhilarating experience. And I'm hoping that we will repeat it again. You called it a dangerous mission. It's not a dangerous mission. That is down to Israel. Israel will dictate the danger. We are an unarmed convoy on board 3 ships, and we want to deliver aid and peace. What's dangerous about that?
There's from what I've been noticing, Mooniba, coming back to you, is there seems to be a lot of women on this flotilla. What do you think is the inspiration behind this? Because you think, it's you're out of sea for so many days. It's a very labor intensive kind of mission. You'd expect men. Obviously, we're a patriarchal society. That's what you'd ordinarily expect. But we're seeing women make up a bulk of the numbers, of volunteers that are going on this flotilla. Why is it that? Why are we seeing so many females actively involved in this?
Sorry, is that to me?
It's for Mooniba, but she seems frozen. But I think.
Right.
I think, yeah, Dr. Ridley, you can answer that for us. This women.
Well, there are some.
Yeah.
There are some extraordinary women, and you're right, we do seem to be in the majority. We held a press conference yesterday, and we were asked about what sort of physical training that we had been up to. And I said, we are peace activists. The majority of us are women in our golden years, putting it politely. You're more likely to hear us talking about the best hearing aids and who's had a hip operation. We're not, we don't present any sort of threat, but the women on this convoy are fearless. They are totally committed to Gaza, totally committed to human life, and totally committed to breaking the siege. And as any man who's married knows, you don't get in the way of a determined woman. You get out of the way.
No, nicely put there, Yvonne. Mooniba, if you can hear me, maybe I can direct this question for you. I'm sure I read an article about this very intensive, training, simulation training that you guys went through. If you can maybe just unpack for us a bit on what that looked like. What are some of trainings and stuff that you guys got up to prepare you guys, for whatever eventuality that might present itself.
All right. Well, so Lelo, it was based on what had happened in 2010. I must say, we're completely impressed with the steering committee, the trainers that were there. So it was almost, it was a training session to train us in preparation for any interception from the Israeli army, it was done in the space that should we have the scenario on the ship, this is how we will react. And also, I think it was really good for us because we created some really stunning groups. So we had to kind of create a group of our own and find people that we wanted to have what we call the affinity with. And so it was also a nice way for us to get to know each other, and you start learning to trust each other, which I think is important. But the training and the trainers were absolutely amazing. Most of the trainers, or at least one of the head trainers, was on the last flotilla in 2010. So she knows exactly what happened. On my table where we were sitting, two of the the participants were in that attack in 2010. So it was really good to get their input, and they explained what happened and how they all reacted, obviously, because they didn't expect the Israeli army to come on board and to attack the civilians, innocent civilians, actually. And just like Yvonne said, we are all innocent civilians wanting to get the aid there and break the siege. So there is no other agenda, So that was exactly what happened in 2010. And then when they were attacked, obviously that had repercussions of it. And as we know, Israel lies every time something happens. And then they claimed that the civilians were armed, and they were not armed. So, it was really good for them to brief us in terms of if anything happens, how we should be reacting, how we should be behaving and all of that. And so I felt a lot better. I felt a lot easier. And I had a lot more a sense of knowing that we were all in this together, and we were going to be there together to protect each other from any, aggression from the Israeli army.
And for you, Dr. Ridley, the training, you mentioned that, you're in your golden years, and it sounds like it was a very, very intensive kind of training. How was it for you?
I think that it was more reassuring for all the passengers on board. As I say, we have absolutely nothing to fear, nothing to hide. All we want to do is to give aid. And Israel, as the occupier, it's their responsibility to see to the welfare of the people of Gaza, and they're not fulfilling their responsibility. They're using weapon as a war, as a starvation device, which is against the law. And, Israel can do one of two things. It can try and stop our flotilla, which again is using food as a weapon of war. And if it does that, it's committing a war crime. Also, how it stops our flotilla, because Israel is bound by international law. And if Israel wants to behave like a pirate state, then it will face the consequences. We have been told that the Israelis have been rehearsing storming ships, and I don't know if this is a bit of saber rattling to make us feel nervous, or if it's something more sinister, which is planning and preparing to execute an international war crime at sea. And it shows the intent was there in the first place. So what Israel needs to do is calm down, get rid of the testosterone, and get out of the way. Women at work, we've got no time for their shenanigans.
Nicely put there, Yvonne. Mooniba, I'm going to come back to you. In your view, how effective are civilian-led missions, in influencing international policy or public opinion, compared to government or diplomatic efforts?
I think we're a powerful force, and the more people we activate across the world, the better. You could just see what's happening at the moment. The governments are not doing what people on the streets are doing. You can see how the world has become more aware of what has been happening in Gaza and in Palestine for the last 76 years. And all these, all the years that, people, ordinary people like myself and all the other people in the world that have stood up against the injustices of Gaza have created such awareness. So I do believe that we are a very strong force, and I don't think that anybody now will step down and not continue doing what we're doing.
Yvonne, I'm going to come back to you. The flotilla itself is leaving from Turkey. We've been reading and seeing on various news channels that there seems to be a lot of pressure from the Israeli government and from the U.S. government to try and block the flotilla from setting sail and putting that pressure on Turkey and Turkish government, threatening with sanctions even if they let that flotilla sail out of Turkey. What are you sensing? How's the Turkish government responding to you guys? You're using some of their facilities. You are in their space. You are in their waters currently. How have they been receiving you?
The Turkish government has been magnificent and unwavering in its support of the flotilla. They are coming under enormous pressure. We've had various men in suits flown in from all over Europe and America. The head of counterterrorism all flew into Istanbul the other day. And one can only imagine the pressure that Turkey is coming under. But Turkey has a choice. It either bows to this pressure or it does the right thing. And I am confident that the Turks, have broad shoulders. I've often said that if Gaza had different neighbors, it would be liberated by now. I've always said if Turkey and Algeria were the neighbors in Gaza, they wouldn't be under occupation now, because their support has been unwavering. Now, then, there are more than 30 different nationalities on board, and our countries are not with us. The German government has acted in a disgraceful manner. We are all being punished because of the actions of a German government during the Second World War. Well, I'm not sharing their guilt. I have nothing to be guilty about. The Americans are showing the world that it actually is the tail wagging the dog. Why it kowtows to Israel, to Netanyahu, a man who's going to be in court shortly as a fraudster, a criminal, I have no idea. But America has stood firm for Ukraine, but it won't stand firm for Gaza. And yet Ukraine and Gaza are the same. They've both been invaded by a hostile force. But the scenario is different in as much that America is giving billions of dollars worth of aid to the Israelis to commit war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and a genocide on Palestinian soil. The main difference is that Ukrainians largely look like me, white and blonde. The Palestinians have olive skins. This is basically racism, and America knows that. And they are all standing there. I'm hoping my white privilege will protect me, but I don't know if it will. But the global South will never forgive us for what is going on and what is unfolding in Gaza. Oh, and by the way, we had a special visitor yesterday. Chief Mandela came along to wish us well, and that was a huge boost to morale.
in there, a very, 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 strong supporter of Palestine, unequivocal. I'm sure it meant, a lot for you, seeing a fellow South African, sharing those words, of support with you. How was it? How was it seeing Chief Mandela there and hearing him say, you got all of the support and, he's, so supporting you guys wholeheartedly?
It was wonderful.
It was awesome to
He
have him here. I didn't,
Mhm.
unfortunately.
Go,
no,
go,
it's
go,
okay.
go ahead, Mooniba. We just have a bit of a lag on your side, but you can continue.
Okay. Yeah, it was absolutely awesome to know that he was here. I didn't get the opportunity to meet him, but I think Yvonne can share more about that. But yeah, I think it just boosted everybody's morale in the room. Everyone was thrilled to know that he came down because I think, from the time that we've been going to meetings, everybody's been asking, where is he and when is he coming? So we were really, really thrilled to know that he has arrived.
Yeah, yeah, Yvonne. Maybe you could share you had an encounter with him. A South African and Mandela at that. With all different people from across the world in that room, and them knowing and understanding, the role that South Africa is trying to play, in trying, to make sure that Israel is held accountable. Having Chief Mandela there, how much of a moral booster was it?
It was tremendous. And, he supported me in my harsh words for the lack of brotherhood and unity among the Arab states. And he said that South Africa could never have contemplated freedom without the frontline African states giving their support. And he said that was crucial. And then he reiterated his grandfather's words that the peace and liberation of the Palestinians is indelibly linked to the South Africans. And that is so true. And it's true for every country that has been liberated from the yoke of brutal colonialism. And for those who still have an ambition for independence, like in Scotland and in Ireland, many of those countries that are still under the shackles of colonialism really are wishing the best for Gaza.
Mooniba, this is your first time on the flotilla. What expectations? What are you most looking forward to? Any nerves that you might be having at the moment?
I think, Salela, for me, it's sailing on that boat with one objective, and that is to get that aid into Gaza with the hundreds of people that are joining us, with all the same passion and energy for what we're going to be doing, and also to break that siege and just a sail to Gaza. So that's what we're looking forward to. I'm not anxious anymore. I know I'm in the company of the most amazing people. I mean, just listening to Yvonne is awesome to just hear about her experiences, and looking forward to spending more time with people like herself, and to learn. I think, for me, I've always been that my journey in life has always been, there is never the first, it's never too late to learn. And it's always, the first is always going to be good. And that's where you're going to be learning more, more about how you can improve on your life, and to be a part of, for me, a part of the justice of what should be the world, and the goodness of humanity, and making sure that everybody has the same opportunities as I have and everybody else in the world has. And I think for us, Gaza and Palestine, that is what our objective is. To have been living under occupation for 76 years. They haven't had the privileges and the freedom that we've had. And when you listen to some very negative chats and comments, you cannot understand how people still don't understand that privileges that we've had, they've never had. And yet they're people of love, people of peace. If you have ever had an experience of meeting a Palestinian or a person from Gaza, you will understand that they have the most amazing, beautiful personalities. So for me, it's about taking that aid to everybody that needs it and breaking that siege, so that we can start rebuilding Gaza to what it was and better, if that's what we've got to do.
Inshallah. And for you, Dr. Ridley, this is your second flotilla. We might have people who are in Gaza currently watching under very difficult circumstances. What message would you like to rally to them?
We love you. We stand in solidarity with you. Keep on rising, keep on resisting. Inshallah, we will get there and deliver our aid. Be strong.
There you have it. They're very, very emotional, very interesting interview. Looking forward to chat to you ladies as you prepare on this journey. I'm sure it's going to be a very, very emotional, very interesting one, but I'm sure a very fulfilling one for you guys, and you are in our prayers. And I hope when you come back, we'll be able to chat with you and reflect on your experiences. But we're going to let you go for now. I'm sure you have so much to be preparing for.
Okay, bye.
There you have it. There, two very, very wonderful ladies. They're joining us for this interview. They're going. Walaikum salam. They're going to be on a Freedom Flotilla, which is planning to set sail on Friday. A very, very difficult mission there, but they seem to be very prepared. They seem to be, very, very excited for it, and excited to be making that change and to be delivering much needed aid to the people of Gaza under very difficult circumstances. We're going to leave it there. When we come back, hashtag the Muslim vote. We'll be shedding our eyes back into South Africa. We know that we have less than a month before we go into our national elections, and the MSA, the Muslim Students Association Union, is going to be having a symposium on which is today, the 24th, and they're going to be discussing just briefly, as Muslims, which parties are advocating for Palestine, which parties that you and I should be voting for, that are speaking the language that we speak, and which political parties, are supporting the causes that we support, not only locally but also internationally, because South Africa is part of the global community, and we need to be involved in all of the ways that we can. I will be speaking to Amir Adams from the MSA about the symposium they'll be hosting after this.